I am very, very, very happy to introduce a guest who I've never had the opportunity to talk with before, but maybe she will be on my next three radio shows. She is a broadcaster and I guess you would say influencer in her own right. She's the host of Latin Affiliated VIP. She's got an entertainment company there centered around Latino culture, LA lifestyle, and artists. Angee Smallz, welcome.
Good morning, Dominique. I love your show already. It's amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're very kind. I know it's early, and I appreciate you waking up. No, your generation don't like to be up this early, so much love to you
good.
on that. So, you have really created a space, carved your own space in the entertainment world, and I have a lot of respect for that. I think as women in entertainment, sometimes we need to be able to do that. So, tell me how you started. I mean, I feel like you made your own lane.
Thank you so much. Yeah, being a woman in the industry, as you know, is hard in all industries, right? So shout out to all the women out there, all the boss bees. So I started about 20 years ago. Latin Affiliated was a print magazine. So it started off in Arizona, and we caught that wave of Latino music that was big on the radio with like Shakira and Ricky Martin and Pitbull, and now it feels like there's a resurgence of these next era of Latino artists. But we relaunched on YouTube, and it's been really great. I love it. I've always been interested in music. I have a really heavy interest in music. I have a lot of musician friends. I heard Eric Benet is going to be on your show. I'm like, oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah,
but
Yep.
I was introduced to Dominique from Red Elite, and I'm sure you know him. He's a friend of yours.
Yeah, he's sitting in here right now.
Oh, shout out to him. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I couldn't be there in person. I really wanted to be there in person. But he told me about our connection, which is essentially through Tupac. I was able to shoot an interview with an artist in his iconic Impala, the yellow Impala from To Live and Die in LA. So I have a really interesting interview. If you want to go to my YouTube channel, it's Latin Affiliated on YouTube. Just look up the artist interview was with a guy named Long Beach Lloyd. He's actually the previous owner of the Impala. They have since sold it. But it was a ride around town in Long Beach in Tupac's iconic Impala.
I actually did see that interview. I thought that was really creative. What was that something he wanted to do, or is that something you talked him into doing, or a little of both?
Well, yeah, definitely a little of both. When he told me he knew the owner, it was actually another artist that was in the car with us, and I had lived in Long Beach for about 20 years at the time, and so I asked him, can we use it for an interview? And he asked the owner, and they were like, yeah, we'll take you a ride around town in it. And it was amazing. It was so fun. It was such a great time. But we also have another connection because one of my mentors was Johnny J, who was the super producer on All Eyes on Me, Tupac's highest selling album. So rest in peace to Johnny J. He's no longer with us, but when I moved to Los Angeles, I always used to work with him in his studio, or I'd be there. I shouldn't say work, but I'd be there. Got really close with his family, and when he passed away, it just really shattered me because he really supported what I was doing. He thought it was very important for the Latino community. He was always also had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because he didn't get the accolades that Dr. Dre did. you know,
I gotcha. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, or the recognition. And he was the mastermind behind a lot of the music that Tupac actually wrote on. And he worked with a lot of other artists too. He worked with Jodeci, he worked with John B. He was actually working with Tatiana Ali, who's the daughter from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at the time. She was working on an album, and it never came out because he passed away. So, you know, I just wanted to mention that, you know, he still inspires me. You know, I got gifted a portrait of him. It's here in my house, and I look at it and I remember his encouraging words. You know, unfortunately, I was at his funeral too, and his family, because at the time it was when the magazine was a paper, so he never got to be on the cover of our.
Now, Johnny J, I
And
mean, people in hip hop, like hip hop heads, would know him because he was,
yes,
you know, he was a famous producer, even though he might not have gotten the love or the money that Dre got. But what happened to him? He died. I, is it
you know,
is it
it's
suspicious? Because he was in Twin
yeah,
Towers, right, in L.A. And I
it's
like when
very
usually
very.
when people die in Twin
hmm
Towers, it's the police. If I'm being honest.
It's very very suspicious. You know, there's different reasons on what happened. I think he definitely was taken out,
They
and that
say he
might sound
fell. Like that sounds like an old mafia movie or something. He had a terrible
that is
fall. Like what?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is such BS. You know, at the time he was not even in there for very long, so he shouldn't have gotten hurt. He was doing a short stint. He was scheduled to be out. I believe at the time he had about 2 more weeks. So, you know, he should have been able to come out of there. I guess what the reason is that is officially on record is that he did it to himself. And this is not, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. He had a lot to look forward to. You
I mean,
know,
and
when
they always say
he,
that, to be honest with you.
hmm
It's like there's an epidemic of, self harm inside of prisons and in the county jail. I've had read he fell, and then I had heard that he sued. Whenever, I hear
hmm
these conflicting stories, it also makes me suspicious. Angee Smallz is my guest, and
hmm
we're going to continue this conversation when we come forward. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. Her company is Latin Affiliated Entertainment. Angee Smallz is my guest. We're talking about your friend, your good friend, the late Johnny J. And you were saying he never got to be on the cover of Latin Affiliated. I think I interrupted you because I just wanted to understand what happened to him when he died in LA's Twin Towers, which is always suspicious, and that there were conflicting stories. So we went a little
hmm
down that road, and rest in peace to him. But you were saying that he never got to be on the cover, and I think you weren't done saying that.
Oh, yeah. And so when he passed, his family asked me if we could make him his own issue.
Mm.
And so we did that. And, you know, so that was my tribute to him. And I actually went into his studio after he passed away and designed it in about 24 hours because they needed it for his funeral. And I was there. It was really surreal to be in his studio without him, you know, and I'll never really forget that. And just surrounded by all of his plaques, and I knew I only had a short window to get this done for him. It was about a 8-page magazine, and his family gave me all of the photos. And if you go to his Instagram right now, Johnny J Beats, it's like Johnny_J_Beats. I believe his wife manages the Instagram. And the first post is the magazine, and that's something that I designed for him. And I was really, really sad about it because, you know, he wasn't here to see it. But again, I will never forget our our conversations and the motivation and how welcoming he was. I was able to talk to him just initially as an interview, and he just kept in touch. And at that time, I lived in Arizona. I was coming back and forth to LA just to do interviews and things like that. But I ended up moving here, and we just didn't get to work together as much as I wanted. He actually did help me judge a talent show I threw as well. I did a show called Battle of the Artists, and he was one of our judges, and he loved it. He loved it. We got to see about 20 artists perform. He critiqued them, and we wanted to do more of that, you know?
Yeah,
he was really excited.
That sounds fun. I mean, you were talking about our connections because you were riding around in Pac's, the famous, car, famous lowrider. And now you're talking about Johnny J, who was also the producer or one of the producers, I believe, on Hit 'Em Up, which is the song I was responding to with Digital Underground on the radio, which Pac pulled the clip off of that and put it in front of To Live and Die in L.A. So if it wasn't for that Hit 'Em Up song, I would never have been featured on Machiavelli's album. So, these little L.A. hip-hop, L.A. to the Bay, I guess with you it's L.A. to Arizona, hip-hop connections are all over the place, Angee Smallz.
Yeah. No, that's an iconic intro. Who doesn't know those words?
It's crazy because I've got 5 Emmy Awards and I've been on the radio for, I was just talking with your friend, 30 years. But that's the most famous thing I've ever done is Tupac taking a few seconds off of one of my shows and putting it on his album on that.
No, that's
iconic.
Song.
So, yeah. But I mean, as women in hip hop, I mean, you're talking about your relationship with Johnny J and how you were able to have these friendships that were within the business, and kind of become an expert in your own right. I don't consider myself an expert. I think I always am kind of like the Forrest Gump of hip hop. I just go along like do 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 do, and I happen to be in the right place at the right time. Like the universe just does that. But I think you are a bit of an expert, at least when it comes to hip hop and Latino culture here in LA.
Thank you.
So how did you get there? I mean, how did you get there? Like they didn't have a degree in that. I still think they don't have that degree.
Yeah, I just had a real big interest in hip hop. I grew up listening to Snoop Dogg. And even when my son was born, and I loved Snoop Dogg growing up, but I just always had a real big interest. And some stars did align. And when I lived in Arizona, I met Baby Bash, and I still have a relationship with Baby Bash. It's all really a lot about relationships, as I'm sure you've experienced, and the industry is just like any other industry. You just have to do right by people and keep in touch with them. And artistry, we're all artists in our own right. And I've been fortunate to meet a lot of talented people, and their careers in the music industry are still going. Like Baby Bash, I believe, is the highest played Mexican on Spotify.
Okay, did not know that.
Yeah, he just posted that. That's the only reason I know about it. But he's getting 7 million plays a month on Spotify.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, and you know what?
Yeah.
When I remember when I first came in this business, there was not just in hip hop, you had few Latin artists, but even in the whole entertainment landscape, actors, comedians, directors, there were hardly any Latino artists, and people used to really complain about it. I had, friends in the business, the guys from Culture Clash, for example, I've known since we were back in the Bay in college, And they would always complain about it, but now people create their own platforms because you do have your own you can create your own distribution. You can stream. You don't have to have a label. And so somebody like him can be doing millions of streams, and I might not know it, but he's thriving within his circle, right?
Yes, totally. And something he always talks about on his platform as well is that he owns the rights to his music. So, he did a lot of things correctly. But again, he's somebody that I still have a relationship with. And speaking of the Bay, I did kind of get my introduction into publishing through him, because when I met him in Arizona, he was working with a magazine called Southwestbound. And that was derived of a DJ, Derek B, and another guy, B12, and a rapper from N2 Deep. They had a magazine in the Bay, and I was in Arizona, but they also had a radio show in Arizona. And so since I was there, I was kind of like their correspondent in Arizona. And eventually I just did a spinoff. And that's how Latin Affiliated actually came to fruition. So, I have some appreciation for Baby Bash as well, for what he did for me, helped me get my start as well.
We're talking about Angee Smallz. She is the owner of Latin Affiliated, now a YouTube channel, but it is an entertainment company. And when we come forward, we'll talk more about LA, hip hop, and the elephant in the room. I always got to get that. It's KBLA Talk 1580. Waking up with me, waking up with Angee Smallz, waking up with Latin Affiliated Entertainment. She broke it down, started as a magazine. It's a changing media landscape now. She's a YouTube powerhouse. And of course, Miles was like, what's the elephant in the room? Well, the elephant in the room is, and I know some of the folks probably who are instigators of this, but there's some controversy about, Black origins of hip hop and Latinos in hip hop. It's Black Music Month, and I've seen some people on a radio station I won't name, really trying to, create tension rather than dealing with the affiliation or paying tribute to the Black origins of this music. How do you feel about that?
We're all inspired by each other. Obviously, the roots of hip hop started in New York. We can't take anything away from the Black culture. They definitely inspired Latinos. And, I have to think about Baby Bash working with Akon. Some of the greatest music that comes about is when minorities, I think that us as minorities really have to, this is a time where more so now than ever that we really need to support each other. We're both dealing with our own uphill battles, and I do have friends in the industry right now that are Latino and make it a point to talk about Black and Brown unity, and that to me is inspiring. Hopefully I'm answering your question.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think you're answering it really, really well. Reparationist in the YouTube chat says Bash keeps the Cali, Texas connection strong. Baby Bash and Paul Wall are two solid guys in H-Town. They're very supportive of the culture. Love that. And I feel like we have to go there. We have to touch on that elephant in the room. I remember when Eazy-E, when I was at the Beat, he had signed the Brown Side, which was an early hip hop group, but they weren't just a group. It was like he signed the whole neighborhood, which I thought was wild.
Exactly. Eazy-E is a pioneer.
That was my friend.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I know you probably have so many stories.
One or two, yeah. But one or two. But I mean, I think it's important to address the issues, especially us being in LA, and being, and moving within these different circles. I remember with Be Real when when I used to do the show Street Science. He was always down. We did broadcasts inside the juvenile halls. We did town halls in Latin and Black communities where Easy would be there, Be Real would be there. And so there's a long history, but I think it's gotten a little trickier these days than it was even back then.
Yeah, right. And thank you for bringing this up. I know that we're both very prideful cultures, I would say. And again, Latinos, I'm only speaking for myself, but generally we don't want to take away the accomplishments of Black music. It inspired a lot of other music down to Elvis, if I'm getting that right.
Yeah. I can't say I'm an expert on him, but yeah, I think I feel what you're saying there. Yeah.
So we've only tried to take that and also make evolve as music evolves, right? And I think as we move forward, we just need to really understand that we should have creative collaborations moving forward, but not taking away where it came from. From my understanding, it came from New York, started in, I think, Brooklyn. Maybe,
well, they say Bronx, but we also
Bronx.
But we also had our parallel movement here in LA and the West Coast. I know that we're not going to get into that whole argument, but yeah, okay, we'll give New York, we'll give them their props, but also I think West Coast hip hop started a lot earlier than most people give it credit for. All that popping and locking and graffiti and the lowrider culture and all of that stuff, the poetry of the Watts Prophets and all of that stuff. So we can do a whole other show on that another day, but definitely.
Heck yeah.
Definitely needed to touch on that. What is the hip hop report card?
Oh, okay. So this was my take on, music, right? Because I saw this show out here. I'm not even going to name it, but this guy had the wildest takes on music, and I feel like he was rage baiting. I don't know his background. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a background in music. And so I kind of got offended by it because he was just randomly going at these artists and just tearing them down. His whole premise was not even about giving positive points or perspectives. And so, when I did my magazine, we were all about supporting new artists, upcoming artists. And this was kind of a new take for me to do this on YouTube. And I wanted to do that again. And so I thought, let me just kind of relaunch it on my YouTube channel, and we're going to have a few songs, and we're going to go ahead and make a little scoreboard and see which is the best song of the episode. But the real point of each episode is just to highlight the entries. And I've only done about 3 episodes of that, but I swear there's so much talent out there. It doesn't matter, if you're this huge selling artist, there's so much talent to be had. And fortunately, all the music, in my opinion, that has been submitted to the show has all been amazing music. It hasn't been any song on there that is okay, we're just going to rate this.
So people submit to you.
We have some good music on that show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they're asking who you're talking about, but I'm not going to say it. Yeah. So they can DM you, and that's how they can be considered for the rap report card. Are the hip hop report card? But you find new artists all the time. How do you do that? Are you outside every day, out in these clubs? Are you online combing through stuff? Are you the Latina Forrest Gump of hip hop? How do you find all this stuff?
Maybe. Hey, they say good luck is just hard work and preparation, right?
Yes, indeed.
So, yeah, I get invited to shows a lot. Again, taking it back from 20 years ago, that's kind of how I started getting invited to a Baby Bash show. So I am still doing that. And I was actually at a show, speaking of the Cali to Texas comment on YouTube, there was a show out here about a month ago called Texas to Cali. And there was a lot of artists that came here from Texas, and it was dope. I hadn't heard the Chopped and Screwed. They're still doing that. and and it was like an updated version. But I got to see a lot of artists perform that aren't necessarily, obviously mainstream. But I'm always out, especially this summer. I feel like there's a lot going on. I'll actually be at a show this Saturday in Victorville. It's called Back in the Day Showcase. Frankie J is going to be there. DJ Quick's going to be there. Conejo's going to be there. I'm trying to think. Oh, the Delphonics are going to be there, or Norman Carter of the Delphonics. So I go to those shows as well, and I cover those shows. And ultimately, I do meet a lot of artists. And if something sticks out to me, then, hey, I want to give that artist props, especially for the younger generation. I've had a lot of younger rappers kind of want to keep in touch with me, which is a little like, I'm like, oh, I can help you, but we can't be best friends, because you're like a 20-year-old boy. And I'm like, no, they're like, but I'll definitely keep in touch, but we can't do these phone calls all the time because, I want to make sure that they stay focused.
That's funny.
But yeah.
Generations in hip hop. But, that's a testament to you keeping it, fresh, keeping it interesting, keeping it relevant, I'll say. But tell me about the Chicano Fashion Gala. What is that?
Oh, yeah. So that is a gala that goes on like once a year. I was able to go to it last year. They actually took it national, which I thought was really cool. It started in LA and then they did a show in New York. So the owner, she just decided she wanted to celebrate, Latino fashion, and it gave us a reason to dress up as best as we could, go all out, because we're not going to the Emmys, right? Or me in particular. And so it gave us all a reason to dress up as best as we could and get as creative as we wanted. And so that was so fun. I loved the dress I had on that night. But yeah, so shout out to the creator of that show. But that is something I did cover on our channel, because I thought, again, if there's something I see that I feel needs better recognition other than just them putting it on Instagram, I'm happy to go and collaborate with people like that. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of what makes it fun to be on the mic, part of what makes it fun to keep doing it after all these years. I had a very young artist ask me, like, how do you still love your job after all these years? Part of it is giving other people the opportunity, making openings and creating space for new folks to come through. I like that. I think, you were talking about Johnny J and him feeling a little bit bitter or angry. And I find a lot of pioneers in the space do feel that way. We're underrated. We don't get enough love. How come I'm not rich like, Charlemagne the God? But for me, I mean, not saying I don't want those big checks, but for me, I don't stay bitter because I stay connected to purpose. And I just feel like God has me here doing this the way I'm doing this for a reason. And I stay connected to that. I do feel like I'm underrated. You probably are too. And so is probably Johnny J, but I'd rather be underrated than overrated.
No, and that's super humble of you, and I think the biggest stars, when I've met them, they're full of humility, as opposed to like the lower level stars. And I don't mean that in disrespectful at all, but I feel like maybe it's a learned trait. But humility, is a great characteristic to have. So
humility, gratitude.
Yeah. Gratitude. Yes. Something I practice as well. And yeah, that was the premise of Latin Affiliated when it started. I thought everyone had a right to be a star, and here we are 20 years later, social media is doing that. It's giving everyone their own platform.
I love that. Everyone has a right to be a star. Angee Smallz is my guest. We'll keep it going when we move forward on KBLA Talk 1580. Angee Smallz is our guest this hour. She is putting LA Latinos on the map and hip hop on the map. And her company is Latin affiliated. You can find them on YouTube. You can find the catalog, dig in the catalog, find the magazine. We were talking about underrated versus overrated. Is LA underrated?
Oh, good question. Maybe. Yeah. we have started. LA's the place. I think similar to. I keep comparing it to New York for some weird reason, but we all feel like we're the center of the universe, and LA is its own ecosystem. You know, I never leave LA, and I meet so many cool people. That's one of the reasons that drew me here. I grew up in the Army. We moved around a lot. I lived overseas. So I've always felt like I had like a broad scope of the world. I grew up with many different cultures from the United States overseas because we were all military brats. Then when I moved back to the States, I had family in California, and every time I visited Los Angeles, I was just like, I need to live here. It's so full of art and culture and inspiration. And obviously the weather is beautiful, perfect. So, yeah, I think it is underrated. A lot of people need to spend more time here or get over the stereotypes of LA, because I feel like some people think that it's a mess, but it really isn't.
I've been on that, Angee Smallz, I've been on that ever since the election, because so many people were running around saying, oh, LA is going to hell in a handbasket. Blah.
Exactly.
Homeless people and, crime and, making it sound like an ish hole. And to me, it's great. And I think I'm tired of that. So those of us who have been here for a long time, who chose this place or this place chose us, I like to hear why we love it, So thank you for sharing that. Who should we be tracking, or what should we be tracking in Latin culture, in your opinion? Is it art, music, actors? Like who is else is underrated or coming up that we should be tracking?
You go to my Instagram. I have some interesting posts on there. So we dip into obviously music, but also the acting industry has been under fire, and I'm sure everybody's aware of that. Especially with all these talks of AI being replacing creators essentially. But I don't think that's that's not gonna happen. AI isn't, in my opinion, smarter than a human because they don't have a soul, and AI is only as good as what a human will feed it.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just stay up to date with my Instagram and you'll see who we're shedding light on. I just actually put a really kind of controversial post talking about Latinos in Hollywood, also considered Chicanos in Hollywood, and how many roles are not even represented or based on true life stories represented by an actual person of color. They're represented by a Caucasian. So you can kind of see there's statistics behind it. I had a guest on, and he talked about all of the movies that have starring roles for these real life characters, but also they're portrayed by someone that is not of actual descent. So,
still going on, huh?
Again, it's still going on. It's still going on. But
what is your IG?
Yeah, and that's
by the way.
Oh, it's Latin affiliated VIP. And I actually have a post on there I just put up about a week ago, and it's me and Johnny J in the studio. And it's like a throwback post, and I found a picture of him holding up the magazine.
Oh.
And because I had did an article on him while he was alive, but he wasn't on the cover. Baby Bash was on the cover. So they had a relationship back then too. So back then we were all collaborating as well. I just didn't foresee him ultimately passing as soon as he did, or he would have got his own cover.
Girl, I always thought I'd still be here talking smack about the young rappers, with Tupac and with Eazy-E, but nothing is promised, and folks leave us. At least you and I are still here on the microphone, and we can pay tribute and make sure that they get the love they deserve, and fight back when people say dumb stuff, acting like they know when they don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, and just to point on his passing, I remember when he actually had to go do his time. We had a conversation, and he was looking forward to doing another Battle of the Artists show. He felt really excited about it. So, in my opinion, he didn't do that to himself. He had a lot to look forward to when he got out.
Mm. Well, Angee Smallz, I've really appreciated the conversation. It's really nice to meet you. And thank you for being part of KBLA First Things First.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing all the DMs that I get. Send me your new music. Just DM me a link from YouTube or Spotify, and I'll happily check it out.
Absolutely. It's Wealth Building Wednesday next. We'll be hearing the story behind what's going down at the district, only right here.